When it comes to Greek mythology, there are certain creatures that seem to be endlessly fascinating. The centaurs, which in classic Greek mythology, centaurs are creatures which are both half man and half horse. They are often depicted with the head and torso of a human with the body and legs of a horse. These mythical creatures were popular in ancient mythology, often being represented in Greek sculpture, pottery, and other ornamentation. They symbolize the complicated relationship mankind held with the animal world and the tension between civilization and barbarism. Despite their frequent appearance in folktales, there is no clear origin of the centaur myth within the Greek tradition. Regardless, centaurs remain to be one of the most easily recognizable mythological creatures, and they are still present in modern art, movies, and literature. The ancient Greeks had many stories involving centaurs. The most notable of the Greek centaurs is Chiron, known as the tutor of the god of medicine. According to myth, Chiron serves as the tutor for both Hercules and Achilles. He is often depicted wielding a branch over his shoulder and with less horsehair on his body. His depiction implies he was seen as a more civilized centaur. Other centaurs were described with more animal qualities, unable to conform to human society. Researchers insist that centaurs actually existed. Archeologists have discovered rock paintings depicting strange creatures and called them teriantrops, hybrids of humans and animals. Researchers believe that ancient artists made the painting from life. Takon from the Australian Museum in Sydney and anthropologist Christopher Chippendale from the University of Cambridge say that such hybrids, including centaurs, were highly likely living side by side with primitives. In Australia and South Africa, the researchers discovered dozens of rock paintings showing animals with human heads and humans with animal heads that may be over 32,000 years old. They have had the first in history detailed study of the strange drawings. The study covered about 5,000 rock paintings of our ancestors. The researchers systematized the frequency and the types of depicted teriantrops and determined their ages. They arrived at a conclusion that animal men actually existed in the remote past. They believe that primitives could hardly draw what they never saw. Myths of ancient Greece and Rome also tell us about animal men, and centaurs are the most frequent ones. These are creatures with the human torso transforming into the feet of a horse or some other animal, a bull, a donkey, a sheep and even a goat. The word centaur is a compound of ken, K-E-N-W, meaning, I kill, and tauros meaning, bull, and it reveals astronomic knowledge of our ancestors. When the constellation of Sagittarius, Centaurus throwing a spear, appears in the night skies, we can no longer see Taurus, one of the sun symbols. The ancient legends say that centaurs came down from the Greek mountains where they failed to keep up friendly relations with the local population. As far as some centaurs loved drinking wine, they easily flew into a rage and conflicted with people. Mythology expert, candidate of historical sciences Alexander Garayev says that animal men were the result of buggery, sex contacts between men and animals, which were quite typical of the ancient epics. The expert adds that many people believed that they descended from animals. Tibetans believed they descended from monkeys. Hindu believed that horses were their ancestors. People in Thailand thought they descended from the dog. And the Vietnamese are descendants of the dragon. Some ancient legends are absolutely strange indeed. There is an old Greek myth saying that great conqueror Alexander the Great was conceived after a contact with a grass snake, into whom Zeus, the patron of all gods and humans, turned with the view to seduce Olympia, the daughter of Macedonian king. Historical sources reveal that buggery was very popular among ancient Greeks and Romans. A legend says that Greek scholar Thales recommended his master Periander not to engage unmarried shepherds not to produce more centaurs. Roman satirist Juvenalis wrote that, Roman women often exposed their naked buttocks to tempt donkeys. In Egypt, these contacts were part of the fertility cult ceremony. In ancient times, warriors took a flock of sheep or goats for every battle. They used animals for eating and do it. There is written evidence saying that Italian soldiers deserted during the Siege of Lyons by Catholics in 1562 because they had little sheep for do it. Allowing contact between soldiers and animals was believed the lesser evil than contact with prostitutes. Respectable scholars, Paracelsus, Cardano and famous accoucher of the 16th century Fortunio Licetti, several times registered birth of hybrids, animal kids born by humans and human kids born by animals. Their notes mention horses, elephants, dogs and even lions. Alexander Garayev says that some time ago the official science would not recognize the possibility of interbreeding of humans and animals. But recently reliable scientific sources have published results of genetic experiments as a result of which researchers got chimeras in test tubes, germs having part of human and part of animal cells. From the genetics point of view, the difference between humans and animals makes just several percent. It is not ruled out that spontaneous mutations may take place in rare instances, and natural interbreeding is quite possible in this case. May it be so that humans with such mutations lived in all epochs? Famous Danish anatomist Thomas Bartholin wrote he saw a woman who had a baby with a cat head after copulation with a cat. Medicine books of the 19 to 20th centuries describe instances of birth of animal humans. At the end of the past century, some British researchers wrote about black women living together with gorillas. Children born as a result of such contacts could even do easy work aboard the house and even speak. Unfortunately, researchers had no chance of seeing these creatures because the hybrids felt seriously hurt and escaped to jungle. Alexander Garayev says that researchers have no whole centaur skeletons but lots of upper and lower parts of centaurs' skeletons. Centaurs still continue to appear in stories today. Literature and movies of the modern age often draw upon Greek traditions, and centaurs are a fascinating product of the rich mythology of the ancient world. While these hybrid creatures previously served as a symbol of the nearness of man to savagery, today they are often represented as wise, noble creatures. For instance, the centaurs in C.S. Lewis' The Chronicles of Narnia are gifted fortune-tellers and stargazers. In addition, J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter series also portrays centaurs as skilled healers and astrologists. Centaurs have had a long history since their days of Greek conception, but it is no coincidence they still appear in stories today. These hybrid creatures straddle the border between man and animal. They are both knowledgeable and wild, unable to be tamed by human civilization.